Good morning. I hope you're doing well. I hope you had a great weekend. Here's your market update video for the week. There is a lot going on. So we start the week now after one of the worst market weeks in a while. So the quick rundown of what happened. The S&P 500 was down 1.87%, Dow down 3.4%. NASDAQ was the better of the bunch, only down about 0.25%. The Russell 2000 was down over 4%. Starting the week with the dollar back over 92, gold's under 1800 in the 1780 range. Oil WTI is over 71, and the 10-year yield under 1.5% at 145 roughly. These are pretty crazy numbers if you just look back and where we've come in the last couple of weeks. In order to get a lot of the information we got in today, we're going to just do a shorter day by day. Remember, Wednesday was the big day for the Fed meeting, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. Monday was a slight S&P 500 gain. Tuesday gave that slight gain back. Wednesday was the whipsaw market. We saw down 1% following the Fed's announcement, and we closed only off about 0.5%. More on that information in a few minutes. Thursday we had more volatility, but at the end of the day, almost literally flat. Friday was actually the big move day as one of the Fed governors, James Bullard, led the market to believe that the rate hikes are coming sooner than the Fed has previously announced. So the S&P 500 was down 1.31%. As I mentioned last week, the Fed announcement and the press conference were a bit of a non-event because most of what was said was really pretty close enough, basically, to expectations. Strangely, a non-voting member, Friday morning, James Bullard, came on and he moved markets on Friday. We're back up a little bit today, Monday morning, so we'll see how that goes. Keys to the market right now are the necessity of a positive catalyst. We've been talking about this for a while. There is so much good news built into this market, so we're just going to have to see what that does. The increased complacency in the market and the lack of a positive catalyst were the two main events that really sort of shook markets last week. So note, good news should not be bad news. Now, if the Fed is getting slightly hawkish, and as the Fed chair even said, they've started talking about reducing Fed accommodation. They're seeing the economy get back on its feet. That's what we want to happen, right? You've heard me discuss my analogy, even going back to the financial crisis, same kind of thing, but it's brought to a whole new level here when it comes to the pandemic. The Fed slapped training wheels on this economy. That makes things go a lot easier, right? We put training wheels, we can go wherever we want, and that's what we're seeing here. The hard part is taking off those training wheels. Anyone who's done this knows. First you take off the training wheels, then you nearly kill yourself running next to the bike, holding onto the child so they don't fall, right? When do you let go? That's the tough part, right? So I did, you have to decide when you let go, either they're going to crash or they're not going to crash, right? I did have a friend of mine who taught his kids to ride. He said at a certain point in time, just let them go and see either they're going to crash or not crash. Wasn't my style, but that's how he did it. I also knew a guy who at 20 years old still needed training wheels to ride a bike. So again, where are we going to go on this? How's the Fed going to thread the needle? That is the question. As I've said, the amazing growth and pent-up demand is a huge help. It's like getting an extra bout of balance on that bike, a little bit of extra momentum. We'll just have to see if we're going to overheat as an economy or if the Fed's going to be able to keep that under control. Quick read on the Fed meeting. The dot plot that we spoke about, that's the chart that says when the Fed members think that we're going to see interest rates. Remember, that was going into the meeting. We didn't see anything even through all of 2022 and 2023. We came out of it with again, not totally unexpected, but we saw some in late 2022 and at least two in 2023. So again, not totally unexpected, but definitely moving away from accommodation that we're seeing. So they're going to continue buying $120 billion in bonds per month, at least through November. The tone was that it is eventually going to go away. So probably not for another 6 or 9 months, but it's going to go away. It's not going to go away all at once. So it is going to see slowly but surely move away. The training wheels are going to come off. We just have to see how that goes. So the takeaway, what do we say? The economy and the economic recovery remains strong, and the Fed remains overall dovish, will continue to support this economy and the market at this time. So this week we need to watch for Friday core PCE number. That's the Fed's favorite number judging inflation. We're going to look for another hot number. We talked about this last week with the CPI, or 2 weeks ago with the CPI. We're expecting a hot number. So just watch it for it to be too hot and not to be able to be explained away. We had a hot CPI number. They explained it away, and we kept on moving. So we just have to see how that goes. Now, I remain convinced that we're going to keep accommodations on for a while. Slowly open the door for the fact that we can take those training wheels off and we can see that come away. So we'll see how that goes, see if we can keep away from a taper tantrum, which is what the Fed's trying to go against. We're going to have to see a lot more hot inflation numbers to move the Fed off of those training wheels. We've recently seen the commodity numbers come back down. Lumber, for example, came way off its highs. Now it's still higher than it was a year ago, but it's way off its highs from there. We're seeing supply chains catch up. And we're going to bring, and hopefully we'll see that bring some of those cost increases under control. Watching wages is probably one of the biggest keys. I'm hearing from some of the conversations that I'm having that the wage increases that we're seeing are being sort of offset. Some people in small business are, instead of offering wage increases, they're actually offering bonuses, because it's a whole bunch harder to dial back a wage increase than it is just stop doing a bonus, a signing bonus. So we'll have to just see. It's not so easy to see that in the numbers, so we'll just have to see how that goes. 10-year Treasury had an odd move, coming back down from a high of 157 yield after the Fed announcement to close near 145. We're going to keep an eye on that, watch for more information on that in the coming weeks. Remember how that number really affects our high growth names. So Jay Powell will be talking this week. He might try to calm things down a little bit, so that may account for a little bit of the bounce we're seeing today, Monday morning. We're seeing crypto get sold off. Bitcoin's down almost 9% today on China news about regulations in the cryptocurrency arena. When it comes to the Fed training wheels, remember, it did not happen overnight. We didn't get these training wheels put on overnight. They're not going to come off overnight. So you're going to see this little by little. Remember, in the meantime, earnings are coming out soon. It's really going to depend, as we've said before, it's going to depend on what these companies say. How sustainable is this rebound, and how that, and also about the cost inputs, and see how that goes. Those are the big things to watch in the earnings. So we're going to keep an eye on two other things, and then we're going to head out for the day. Goldman Sachs reports that over $5.5 trillion in cash is on the sidelines. They also see stock buybacks about to turn back on big time. So as you can tell, a ton going on right now. I'll keep you informed as often as I can. Keep an eye out for special report videos, and also, of course, our Friday planning video. As always, call me with any questions. Have a great week.